Hey guys, what's up? Alright, so you guys delivered, asked a lot of questions. I like that, especially Carried On. He fucking flooded this shit. So, yo, cat, stop it. Go away. Alright, never mind that. Okay, so I gotta answer a lot, so I'll breeze through some of them that I don't really know. Keanu Reaver asked exercises specifically targeting the gluteus medius, and Dogmeat kind of chimed in on this, but yeah, my initial reaction was just use the hip circle. I've seen people warm up their squats and stuff with that, and so it adds resistance in this plane of motion. So like when you go to squat, like you have like this tension that you have to force your knees out. So that might be a way to go. Maybe the cable machine, like do like what those I don't know, like what girls like to do, and just like use the band or whatever on your ankle, and have it positioned really low, and then just like force your legs out. I'm not really sure, to be honest, what the whole situation is and what the best remedy is, but some sort of lateral movement would be good enough. Maybe also to abductor and those machines where you're basically spreading your legs or like forcing your legs closed. Those two can probably help. All right, we'll see. So next ones are Carried On. He asked a whole bunch. Okay, so since injuries are the biggest obstacle, what measures have you taken to prevent them, and how likely they are given your training regimen? Injuries are the worst. Luckily, I haven't had any major ones. I've only had like two. I basically sprained my shoulders separately on two different occasions, both of them. Well, one time each. Anyway, yeah, how likely they are? I feel like right now they're not very likely. I think relative to my core strength and maintaining my positioning in all lifts, I feel very comfortable. I never feel very strained. Like when I'm deadlifting, my back never feels much strain at all. In fact, I actually get more of a lower back pump from my squatting. So yeah, I mean, I would say they're not very likely right now. What measures have I taken to prevent them? Just make sure that your form isn't breaking down at all. Don't try and max out in the gym unless you really have to. If you're like testing for a program or something, I would say don't bother with true maxes unless you're in a competition or something, because they're irrelevant. Like, let's say I could, at the most fit, let's say most rested I could be, and I could squat 300 pounds. It's irrelevant to squat the 300 pounds. Like, I just go through another volume block and accumulate more strength, and I can squat more than that later. So it doesn't matter that I can prove that I can squat the 300, because 300 as a max is not my goal. I don't care about having a specific number. I just want it to increase. And so as long as it's increasing, it doesn't matter what the actual number is, unless you're actually programming for specifically like some sort of program that is going to calculate like your next 6 weeks on it. Like I do have a program like that, but I use a training max, which is like an estimated conservative max. Usually, I even set it to like 10 pounds less than what I'm certain I can do. Excuse me. So, how many and which complementary exercises to the 3 powerlifts do I do? Different shoulder and elbow rotation exercises. I think this is 2 different questions. I'm not sure like what you mean. But for shoulder exercises and health, I'll warm up my rotator cuffs with like a 2.5 pound weight usually, and I'll just like use this plane of motion, and I'll do like a couple sets of each plane of motion, and then I'll switch to like the other arm, and also to like I forget what these are called, but just like with the weight, I'll kind of just like loosen up my shoulder, get it ready for movement. And then like for bench and stuff or whatever shoulder press I do, I'll have very light weights when I start out, and I make sure that I'm very controlled with them, and I'm making sure that keep my form like really dialed in, so that I can really kind of simulate what the shoulder is going to go through, I guess. Okay, so complementary exercises to the 3 power lifts. So for deadlifts and squats, I don't really have any right now except stiff-legged deads, just because the way my program's set up is because I do deadlifts and squats twice a week. So adding more volume is really, really hard. Like, yeah, it's not feasible. So, but if I had to choose, I like stiff-legged deads a lot for deadlift. I don't do deficits, but I mean, I'm sure they're good. I guess it would depend on what your weakness is going to be. For squats, I like front squats a lot. I'm terrible at them, but I think they're really really good. Yeah, I can't really think of more for squats that I really like, because I mean, high bar and front squats, like I can't think of something more suitable than those two as your primary squatting. But for bench, I like close grip bench press a lot. That's really, I think, useful. I like it over dips just because I can't do dips, and like basically it just hurts my sternum when I do them afterwards. So I don't really like that. I've heard that it has to do with the connective tissue over your chest. In the end, it's not worth it to me. I don't really care about how many dips I can do or weighted dips. So I just kind of substitute it for something that works just as good, in my opinion. So I use close grip bench press. Also use incline if I was doing dumbbell work. I don't like dumbbell flies, but I do really like the pec deck, or whatever they call the machine in your gym. But basically, it simulates the pec flies, and it's really good if you want to work on your chest, but you don't want to give, if you have really dominant triceps, maybe you want to bring up your chest. So that's a really good idea for benchers that have that problem, so that you can isolate the chest without the triceps. How do you get organized before a deadlift? Do you agree with the practice? Do I agree with and practice what Kelly Starrett preaches on getting tight in your abs before setup? Deadlift actually is the one that I've concentrated the least on. I've always just been good at it, and I haven't broken position, so I feel a little like my advice is a little tainted on this, because I just haven't had the real motivator to really get dialed in. What I normally do is I'll just set up my feet, and then I'll grab the bar and I'll work my scapula to make sure that my scapula is being cut in half by the bar, essentially. So if you drew a line straight through my scapula, it would be cutting it in half. So once I get into position, I'll normally just take my breath and then just deadlift it up. So instead, what I'll do is I'll just talk about how I go about the squat, and because I feel like I'm more dialed in with breathing in the squat. And so with the squat, what I'll do is at the top, I'll take my breath and I'll inflate my diaphragm, my stomach, pretty much. And then from there, once it's inflated, I squeeze. So the cue I used to get, and I don't really even understand who came up with this cue, but the old cue that I used to use or think about was expanding, just push into the belt. But that's not, I don't really like that cue, because what you really want to do is you want to expand your diaphragm into the belt and then squeeze, so that you're up against the belt, and then from there you're bracing. So that's what I go on. As far as Kelly Starrett, I love his stuff, actually. He's really, really good. I know Gotunk really likes him too. I mean, pretty much everybody who has some sort of mobility issue or anything should just go right to his channel, and see if he has something specific on it. What is my diet like? My diet right now is, well, I always do flexible dieting now, even when I'm cutting. So I just am really dialed in on what my calorie intake is going to be, because I usually eat the same foods. It's very easy for me to switch them up and just reduce the calories in them. So for instance, like, let's say I'm going to Panda Express. I know what I'm usually getting, and I know that I can just like have string bean chicken and cut out on average like 200 calories from it or something like that. So just knowing if you have very similar diet all the time and you're getting enough fat and protein, you can actually manipulate it quite a bit. Just like maybe not get cheese on something or whatever, depending on what you're normally hitting. Right now, I'm probably averaging about, I'd say a 100 calorie surplus, very, very small, each day. And that's kind of exactly what I wanted to be. I finished my cut, I'm gonna say 5 months ago, and since then I've gained about 6 pounds. So it's pretty much exactly what I wanted. It was about a pound a month at most. And I mean, that's just what I want right now. So not gonna be too long-winded on that. I guess the question was what was my diet, but I would just suggest using If It Fits Your Macros for a while when you start dieting or whatever you want to do exactly. Like maybe you want to gain weight but at a very steady pace. Use If It Fits Your Macros until you're so dialed in that you don't really need to track anymore, that you'll just know that you're getting enough protein and enough fat, and then from there, you know, just use flexible dieting where you kind of just go by an average amount a day. How is going from a scrawny nerd to a gym rat done for your life? What has going from, okay, so anyway, it's been really good actually. Like, so I mean, you don't really realize like how people treat like different people. Like hot girls always get treated better than like the not hot girls and stuff. And so yeah, like I noticed it about a year in that everybody was like, the whole planet was nicer. I was like, whoa, like it was like a weird social experiment I got to like partake in. Like now everybody's like so much nicer. I wouldn't say like so much nicer, but it's like significant enough to where you'd notice it. So it's been cool actually. Like I would argue I'm still scrawny, but yeah, it's been really positive. Like, yeah, girls notice. Like, I don't know what else to say, but yeah, I really like the questions. Only thing was Keanu Reaver, you should have been a little more specific, because I could have like answered this a lot of different ways and I didn't really know until you guys started talking about it. I thought it was a troll question, but yeah, I hope that helped you guys. I would like to do these again if you guys liked them. So let me know what you guys think of the Q&A, and if you have any questions, I'll either answer it in a thread or I might make another video. So anyway, take it easy, guys.